Uma cidade com forte presença feminina na liderança política. Assim é Mississauga, que se prepara para escolher em junho o novo ou nova presidente da Câmara Municipal. Carolyn Parrish, que é vereadora pelo Distrito 5, está em campanha para se tornar, quem sabe, mais uma líder política à frente da administração municipal, que tradicionalmente nas últimas décadas tem sido dominada pelas mulheres. First of all, thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you for inviting me.
Let's start by talking about how you became involved in politics.
Well, that is very interesting. I was a high school teacher, and I had 2 children, so while I was raising them as small children, I stayed home. And I got very involved in what was going on in the school, and they were showing sex education films to my daughter in grade 3 that I previewed, and they were for grade 7 and 8, and they were way too advanced. So I went to the school board and I objected, and then I got interested in what they were doing. So I ran for school board trustee and I won my first election.
Can you speak to the benefits you would bring as the mayor of Mississauga?
Well, I've got lots of experience. I've been a school trustee, I've been a counselor or a federal MP under Mr. Chrétien. And I'm not so happy with what's going on in Ottawa right now, but I spent 13 years with Mr. Chrétien's government. And I think I have a lot of experience, 13 years as a councillor. And I was actually, up until very shortly from now, the councillor in Malton, which is a very poor area that needed a lot of work, and I've made a lot of changes there. So I'm not afraid to tackle hard subjects. I'm not afraid to build, and I think we need to build houses. And I think we have to change the way we designate land so that we can build houses mixed use on areas that are currently designated for office space, because nobody's using office anymore. They're working from home or they're just cutting back. So I've got the experience, I've got the energy, and I've got a creative way of thinking that I look at a project 6 different ways and figure out the best way to make it work.
So you, as a woman, endeavor to take the place of your most recent predecessors, also women. Do you feel that this is significant?
I think it's significant that Hazel blazed the trail. She was an incredible human being. We locked horns once in a while, but after she retired, we became very best friends. We had breakfast at least once a month together, and we talked on the phone a lot. And I learned a lot from her. When I was an MP, I used to come to Mississauga on the weekends, every weekend, and I would have lunch with her. And she would just talk to me about how important it is for women to get ahead and that we think things through differently than men. And I began to understand that. Men make very snap decisions, all of them. I'm not generalizing, but many of them make quick black and white decisions. Women sit there and they try to find a way to make everybody happy. They try to make things work so that they're all winning and people aren't walking away from the table saying, I lost that argument. So she was wonderful. Bonnie was very glamorous. I will never be able to keep up with the clothes or the blonde hair or the beauty, but she was also very high energy, and she and I agreed on a lot of things. We both cared very much about the poor. We both did big food drives, and we cooperated on those things. And we battled at the region with Brampton and Caledon sometimes, so we were a good team together. So I think moving into this 3rd iteration of women, hopefully I will win, I think I will continue what's been set by those 2 ladies.
So talking about all that, can you briefly outline your platform?
Well, my platform is what it should be for everybody in Ontario, which is more housing and more affordable housing. And the way I intend to do that is we have large plazas that a lot of the stores are dying because people do orders by phone and they get delivery. And they have these big paved parking lots with nothing on them, not even cars. So what I'd like to do is rezone some of the large malls that are fading and put in what we call mixed use. So you would still have stores, you would still have offices, but you would have some mid-rise buildings in there. I think that's really important. And there are other areas of the city where I have a big strip in Ward 5 that goes right up the LRT, and it's 162 acres zoned office, strictly. I would like to change that to mixed use as well. I'd like to speed up the process. I was just reading today's paper and it says even the Ford government has realized they've made some mistakes in Bill 109 and it's slowing things down, so they're going to fix that. So I'm very, very interested in housing. Secondly, I think our transportation system needs some improvements. We need more bus shelters. We need lots of things that make people more inclined to take public transit. We have a lot of seniors now, and one of my big objections that I've been working on for years is those windrows at the end of your driveway. You finish cleaning the driveway, the plow comes by, it puts a wall of ice at the foot of your driveway. There are machines that can take that away. And I'd very much like to see that we start focusing more on seniors as our population is aging and do some of the things that make them more comfortable. There's a whole bunch of other things. I'm a multitasking person. I've got a whole list and I'm ready to go.
Perfect. How do you feel about the suggested then reversed dissolution of Peel Region?
Well, I was not happy about even going into it, to be honest with you. I supported it because I'm a very democratic person and our whole council supported it. Way back when Hazel was trying to do it 15, 20 years ago, it was a much smaller task. This time, it's a $3.6 billion operation. Taking it apart, you can't take the police apart, you can't take the paramedics apart, and then you get into social services where people are really needy and dependent. And you start reproducing 3 social service agencies across the 3 municipalities, it gets expensive, but it's hard on the people that are in the system. They have to, if they move from Brampton to Mississauga, their papers don't come with them. So it was something I looked at it and I thought, okay, I'm going to behave, I'm not going to vote against it, but I was really pleased when they decided not to do it.
When speaking to the Portuguese community in particular, what would you like to convey?
Well, they are fantastic people. When I was first elected to federal government, I was walking around my area, Paisley, bottom part of Mavis. A lot of Portuguese guys were out there making wine in their garages. And it was, come on, taste my wine. I know better now. You don't taste fresh wine.
That is really Portuguese.
Yes, because when you get home, you have difficulties with your digestive system. But they were always extremely welcoming, really good people. I spend a lot of time at the Portuguese Club up in Streetsville. Every time I'm invited, I go up there. They always do fantastic food. They're the warmest people. They're very wonderful people. And they've been my friends for many, many years.
Thank you so much for your kind words. And thank you so much for coming here, having this conversation with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.